ॐ ध्रुवं ते राजा वरुणो ध्रुवं देवो बृहस्पतिः ध्रुवन्त इन्द्रश्चाग्निश्च राष्ट्रं धारयतां ध्रुवम् ॐ भारत माता की भारत माता की भारत माता की वंदे वंदे वंदे. What is India? The answer we all know is geographical. Even before 2000 years, our literature gives this geographical answer in a beautiful way. Sangam literature is minimum 2000 years old, we all know. In the Sangam literature, we have a song. It can be called as a national song as Vande Mataram. This is a minimum 2200 years old song which determines the geographical location of our nation. Here in our school, we know this song, we sing this song. தென் குமரி வட பெருங்கல் குணகுட கடலாயல்லை குன்று மலை காடு நாடு ஒன்று பட்டு வழிமொழிய கொடிது கடிந்து கோல் திருத்தி படுவதுண்டு பகலாற்றி இனிதுருண்ட சுடர்மே நீ முழுதாண்டோர் வழி காவல இடியன முழங்கும் முரசின் வரையாயிகை குடவர் கோவே வரையாயிகை குடவர் கோவே. This is a song. This song is by Kurunkoliyur Kirar. This is the 17th poem of Purananuru. This is about the great king, Chera king, Cheraman, Yanai Katchai, Mandaran, Serar Irumborai. This Irumborai, his eyes are like elephant's eye. Yanai Kan. He is a great soul. Regarding him, the poet is singing. He is a Chakravartin. He is the emperor of the whole of India. I don't know whether it is literal or not. But anyhow, the kings are sung, kings are praised like that. This may be literal too. Ten Kumari, so the nation which has Kanyakumari in the south, Vada Perunkal, the huge mountain in north. What is the huge mountain? Himalayas. Why can't it be Vengadam? Why can't it be Vindhya Hills? Did early Tamilians know Himalayas to be the boundary of their nation? All these questions are raised nowadays. These questions were never existing before some 200 years. These are all due to the divide and rule policy of British. Of course, definitely, Venkatam is also our boundary as Tamilians. This is that Tamil Kurun Nallulaham. And our boundary is Vindhya Hills too. All these are recognized in Sangam literature, no doubt. But as a single nation, we have boundary as Himalayas. This Vada Perunkal described in Purananuru is nothing but Himalayas. For that we can give references from the same Purananuru. There is another poem in Purananuru about a Chera king. His name is Imaya Varamban. Even the very name suggests what he is, who he is. Regarding him, there is a poem, in Paditru Pattu, not in Purananuru. The whole of Paditru Pattu is about Chera kings. And here we have how the king went up to Himalayas. There the nation's boundary is again described. Per isai imayam ten kumariyodu aidai man mi kurunar marantava kadande. So here Per isai imayam ten kumariyodu, starting from Himalayas up to Kanyakumari. This boundary is described in Paditru Pattu. In the same Purananuru, we have another poem. It's a beautiful poem. Vada adu panipadu neduvarai vadakkum. Tena adu urukelu kumariyin terkum. Guna adu karaiporu todu kadar gunakkum. Kuda adu tondru mudir pauvattin kudakkum. This is the poem. Here, Karikkilar, a great poet, he is singing about the king Pandiyan Palyagasalai Mudukudivi Peruvididi. Again I repeat, Karikkilar sings about Pandiyan Palyagasalai Mudukudivi Peruvididi. He is extolled. In that context, the boundary of this nation is referred as Vada adu Panipadu Nedu Varai Vadakkum. What is that Panipadu Nedu Varai Vadakkum? This is nothing but Himalayas. Hima means Pani, a repository of snow. Himalayas is a repository of snow. That is in north. And in south we have Kanyakumari or Kumari. Kanyakumari. And this is in south. And the two other boundaries of this nation are two seas. Okay. Eastern Sea and Western Sea. And this is our nation. So now let me come to the poem, the main poem, what we have taken here. Ten Kumari, Vada Perunkal. Vada Perunkal is Himalayas. Then Gune Kude Kadala Ellai, two seas in two directions. In between these two seas and in between Himalayas and the Kanyakumari, there is a huge landscape with which we are very proud. And in this huge landscape, what are existing? Kundru, Malai, Kadu, Nadu. There are various slopes, there are various mountains, there are various forests, there are various states, regions, and kingdoms. And they all have a single voice. 2000 years Sangam literature says, Ondrupattu Valimodiye. They all koti kanta kalakala ninade. Of course, we are creative. And we have different lifestyles, different dresses, different food habits, different faiths, and different castes, different even religions. So many different things in our nation. Beyond all these things, we are one. Ondrupattu Valimodiye. We have a single voice. We are one. And what is that single voice? That is universal welfare. Kodidu Kadindu. Ahimsa. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Yam Petra Imbam Ivayadam Perave. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Ellorum Inbutchurukave. Indra Ashabhyaspari Sarvabhyaha Abhayankarat. Sarvabhuteshu Kohitaha. Visvesham Hitaha. Throughout the literature, throughout the literary works found in the whole of nation, you again and again can listen the same voice Universal welfare, universal welfare, universal peace, universal peace. That is this Koditu Katindu, the king, or the governor, one who governs, or the president, or the prime minister, you may call. Kol Tirutti, the scepter of the king, stands for Koditu Kadindu, for Ahimsa. The scepter of the king stands for the universal welfare. And Paduvadu Undu, people submit the tax for the king, or in modern language, for the government. And these people are not squeezed. The people have to peacefully pay the tax. Whatever tax is coming to the government, that takes and gives back. Pagal or tree. Pagal in early Tamil is niti, justice. Pagal also means day. Maybe day and justice are identified. Injustice and night may be identified due to the ignorance. Okay. Pahal or tree. Pahal here is justice. Having justice, having the great matchless scepter, O king, you get the tax and stand for the harmlessness of the nation, universal welfare of the nation. Inidu urunda sudar nemi murudu andor vadikavala. That is how all the kings, not all the kings, that is how the great kings of India, perhaps Manunidi Cholan kind of kings. These great kings were ruling this nation. Inidu urunda sudar nemi murudu ando. Having this wheel of earth. Earth is spherical, earth rotates. Both are there in our Shastra. That is why it's called as Nemi. Nemi means wheel. This chakra, one who holds it is Chakravartin. Right? So, if you go to Ramayana, for example, Yavat Avartate Chakram. So, the earth is described as wheel, and it also is described as getting rotated. Oh Rama, rule this rotating wheel. Yavat Avartate Chakram. This is how Bharata requests. So, Inidu Urunda Sudar Nemi. What is this Inidu? It is happily, joyfully rotating. Earth is joy. It's a very beautiful expression. Because of your governance, it is joyfully rotating. That is how the great kings ruled this kingdom or the nation, this nation, and you are the guardian of that course. Murudu Andor Vari Kavala. You are the guardian of the course of those great Chakravartins. Idiyana Murangu Murasin Varaya Ihai Kudavar Kove. And you are offering donations after donations to your people. You are very selfless, going on offering donations. You are emanating the welfare like the sun emanates the rays. That is how the king is blessed by the poet. And the king's blessing is nation's blessing too. Even Janaganamana is a blessing to the king only. In the same way, that is the viceroy only. Here, this song, this beautiful song, even though it blesses the king, it talks only about the nation. Rashtram Dharayatam Dhruvam. This is how we started today. It's a Vedic mantra. Rashtram Dharayatam Dhruvam. May the nation be held. This is the meaning of that mantra. May the Rashtra be held. What is Rashtra? A very important question. Rashtra is not a region, is not just a region found in between Himalayas and Kanyakumari. Rashtra comprises the people, their culture, their lifestyle, their living, their life, their breath, their languages, their faiths. All these things Rashtra represents. Rashtra is organic. Bharat Rashtra is mother, our mother. And this is Rashtra. And the Veda talks about Bharata Mata. Aham Rashtri Sangamani Vasunam. Aham Rashtri. Vadambrani, a very great Vedic seer, she is giving this mantra. A very famous sutta by Vadambrani, the 10th mandala of Rigveda. She is a Rishika. Rishika means feminine Rishi. Woman mantra drashta, drashtri. She gives this mantra where she says, Aham Rashtri Sangamani Vasunam. Bharata Mata says, I am Rashtra Devata. What is this Rashtra Devata? Sangamani, gatherer, unifier, beautiful. See the prayer, may the Rashtra be held. Rashtram Dharayatam Dhruvam. May Rashtra be held. What does it mean? So many things are held, so many things are gathered, so many things are unified. We stand for that single voice, we stand for that union. Okay. Aham Rashtri Sangamani. I am Rashtra Devata who gather, who bring the beings together, who bring all kinds of lifestyles, Alovadraha Kratavaha, noble thoughts together, and concepts together, principles together. Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Shuddhadvaita, Achintya Bheda, Bheda, all these philosophies together. Sankhya, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Vedanta, all these philosophies together. Shaivam and Vaishnavam, the great faiths together. And also, what is that? Kaumara, Dhanapatya, Shakta, Saura, all these together. And I bring all languages together. What are the languages? Kannada, Telugu, and Tamil, Malayalam, Marathi, Bengali, Urdu, Gujarati, and so many other languages. Hindi, yes. Avadi, all these languages together. All these languages together. Aham Rashtri Sangamani Vasunam. All the faiths, all the gods together. We have various wonderful gods all together. This is this Rashtra Devata. We have varieties after varieties after varieties. Among these varieties, what is the uniqueness? What is that which unifies? This is a question. We all are different by dresses, foods. We all are different by our languages. We all are different by lifestyles. What is that which unifies, which can be called as, or what can be called as India? Very important. Simple answer is tolerating all these varieties. More than that, accepting all these varieties. More than that, enjoying all these varieties. Normally, if there are so many groups, the most powerful group will capture all other groups and will try to change all groups to its own. This happens in history again and again, which did not happen in India, which cannot happen in India. Here, we stand for all these varieties and creativity. That's a beautiful thing in India. Swami Vivekananda says in his first lecture in Chicago, the people came here to Cochin from Jerusalem. They had shelter here, and up to our time, they are living very peacefully. They did not merge here in the major crowd. They practice their own culture, they have their own faith, and they are happy here. Even after they got independence for their own nation, they stay here, considering this as motherland. In the same way, Zoroastrians came here. They were driven in from their own motherland, and they came here with their own scriptures, Zendavasta. They all are peaceful in India. They are allowed to be peaceful in India. We invited them with very great joy. They are here, happily staying. This is the mother of the world. India is the mother of the world. Even the great Saint Dalai Lama, when he had a problem in his country, he could have chosen some other Buddhist country like Japan or Sri Lanka, but he had chosen this great land, India. It means he is more comfortable in India than any other country in the world. All these things we see. India represents that. India represents that unity. What is this unity? Accepting the variety. This is in another language, Kodidu Kadindu. This is in another language, Ahimsa. In another word, this is universal welfare. Passion of universal welfare. Any evil force against this passion, any evil force against this universal welfare or tolerance will be ejected, rejected in India. That's all. It cannot sustain here in India because India's very nature is this universal welfare, this kind of tolerance, this universal acceptance, and that is India's very nature. Ano bhadraha kartavo entu vishwataha. That is the binding force of India. And we see there is a very nice book, very nice, well researched book. It's fact, whether it is nice or not, a factual book. Its name is Breaking India by Sri Rajiv Malhotra and Sri Aravindan Nilakantam. It runs for thousands of pages, 1,000 pages, having various data. On seeing the title Breaking India, I thought, why can't we have another title, Binding India? Okay, which binds this India, which makes this nation. It's not just geographical. It is geographical too. But it is not just geographical. If it is just, please don't be lethargic thinking that it is geographical alone. If it is geographical alone, after independence, few regions will not be deported from this nation. Understood? Why few regions went away from this nation? We know the reason. I need not explain. But anyhow, it is not just geographical, please understand. But then what? With this geographical makeup or with this geographical existence, the understanding of universal welfare, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, the passion of universal welfare, tolerance and acceptance of varieties existing in nature, in human society. This maturity is the future of India, and this is the lesson which the Bharat Mata is giving to the whole world. Whole world can follow this lesson. And for this, the Veda Mata is the torch bearer. Therefore, among the various binding forces in India, the Veda is a very important one. Throughout the nation, from the length and breadth of India, even though you see various paths, various philosophies, various faiths, various lifestyles, all these things are bound by the Veda Mata. Starting from Himalayas to Kanyakumari, starting from Eastern Sea to Western Sea, everywhere you can see Some people sitting and chanting the Veda mantras. These Vedas are preserved for time immemorial. Very great effort was made by some people to preserve this Veda without any alteration. And this scripture is meticulously, rigorously maintained, zealously maintained up to our time. It's a very great achievement of Bharata Mata. The Veda represents the universal welfare. Several passages in the Veda, for example, I quoted the one, Indra Ashabhyaspari Sarvabhyo Abhayankarat, or Mitrasyaham Chakshusha Sarvani Bhutani Samikshe. Mitrasya Ma Chakshusha Sarvani Bhutani Samikshantan. Mitrasya Chakshusha Samikshamahe. Or Vishwesham Hitaha. Or Vishwajanyam Matim. All these passages, all these several passages represent universal welfare in the Veda. Various devatas described in the Veda are nothing but various principles contributing in universal welfare. Worship of the Veda, which is named as Yajna, is a symbol of universal welfare. Sangrahanyeshtya yajate imam janatam sangrunhani. May I gather all beings and for their welfare I am performing yajna. This is how yajna starts and how yajna ends. Finally, if you see, Ab Brahman Brahmano Brahma Varchasi, in that mantra, finally it comes. Nikame Nikamena Parjanyo Varshatu Palinyona Oshadayaf Pachyantam. May there be seasonal raining for the people and may the people be happy. So, Yajna represents universal welfare. The Vedic literature represents universal welfare. Vedic culture represents universal welfare. Following this Veda and its principle, that is ahimsa, or universal welfare. The culture is maintained from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Eastern Sea to Western Sea, length and breadth of India, we see this. So the Veda is one of the binding forces of this nation. And our gods are binding forces of our nation. What are these gods? I can summarize, I can comprise in 3 words. Some persons are having that name. Shiva Ramakrishna. We can call it as Shankara Narayana. Okay, Shankara and Narayana. If we have to literally expand, it can be called as 3, Shiva Ramakrishna. Lord Shiva is seen throughout India, everywhere. In Kashmir, Amareshwara is there. And here in Chennai, Nataraja is there. That is in Tamil Nadu. From Tamil Nadu, if somebody goes to Kashmir, he can see their Amarnaths and understand Nataraja or Brihadishwara, whom I worship here in Tamil Nadu, the same Lord Shiva is here in Kashmir too. If a person from Uttar Pradesh comes to Karnataka, he can go to Manjunatha, Dharmasthala, and have darshan of Lord Shiva there, and can understand Shiva whom I worship there in Varanasi is here too in this Karnataka. This is how, starting from Kashmir, Up to Tamil Nadu, everywhere, Shiva worship is there. Shaiva literature is there. You may go to Tamil Nadu and see Nayanmars extolling Lord Shiva, the great acharyas like Tirumular extolling Lord Shiva. If you come to Karnataka, here also you can see great Akka Mahadevi or Basavappa or Renukacharya are praising and worshipping the same Shiva. It's not that Tamil Nadu Shiva is different and Karnataka Shiva is another god. It's not like that. If you go to Maharashtra, there also you can see the same Shiva worship. And Shiva binds this nation. Krishna binds this nation. Krishna's worship may differ because we allow the variety. It's not that Krishna has to be worshipped in only one way. Krishna is worshipped everywhere throughout the nation in different ways. If you go to Kerala, you can see there Guru Ayurappan having the prasada of Chakkaprataman and listening to the wonderful music of Chandai Vadyam, coming on the elephant, Keshavangutti, Shiveli. You can see Krishna, Keralite Krishna. If you go to Nathadwara, you can see the same Krishna there in Rajasthan, a Rajasthani Krishna, a Gujarati Krishna, who listens to beautiful Hindustani song, sitting in a very relaxed way, celebrating Holi, and also enjoying the Chappan Bhog, different kinds of sweet. Okay. Srinathji. If you go to Vrindavan, Banke Bihari, the same Krishna, but enjoying the culture of Uttar Pradesh. And if you go to Tamil Nadu, there you can see Rajagopalan, Mannargudi. Very Suchi Ruchi kind of Krishna. Very handsome Krishna. Handsome is a very little word to explain him, to describe him. Okay. And he is listening to Venkata Subbayyar's Kirtanangal. Okay. Wonderful music. This is how the whole of India, Krishna is there. You go to Odisha, there is Krishna, Puri Jagannath. You go to Maharashtra, there is another Krishna, same Krishna, with a very great turban. Every day at midnight, not midnight, every day at night, he wears a huge turban like a Maratha. Okay. And he celebrates Deepavali in Maharashtra and Krishna Jayanti, all these things in his own way, listening to various Kannada and Maratha songs, Dasar Kirtanes and also abhangs of Namdev and Tukaram, and conducting Varkari. This is Maharashtra's Krishna. Everywhere you see this Krishna. You see Charitra Purusha Sri Ramachandra, the icon, the hero of India. The father of India is devotee of this man, Sri Ramachandra. And this man walked from Ayodhya to Kanyakumari, or what we call as Rameshwaram or Tirupulani, and up to Lanka. And this is Sri Ramakshetra. And this Rama is resonated through all regions of India, everywhere. You see Rama in Purananuru, you see Rama in Agananuru, you see Rama in Silapadigaram, you see Rama in a very, very positive way. Before the entrance of British, you can't see anything negative about Rama in India. Right? British taught us to see Rama as villain, which we rejected, which we ejected. It did not work in India. It did not work in India. A huge experiment was performed by the British. And it did not impact India because Sri Ramachandra is in our DNA. Sri Ramachandra is our blood. Our predecessors, our Tamilian ancestors, the great ancestors, they went in the course of Rama. The king Pandyan is called as Kaliyuga Raman, and our street in Srirangam is called as Kaliyuga Raman Thiru, what is now called as Vadaka Chitri Vidi. And the great Cholas, Pandyas, they followed the course of Rama, of Dharma. The great Purananuru, Akananuru, Shilapadigaram, these great poems, literary works, masterpieces, they all extol Rama. And the great Divya Prabandham, and even the poems of Nayanmars, they all talk on Rama. And again, the great Kambaramayanam, it describes on Ramayana, Ramachandra. And then following Kambaramayanam, Ramanataka Kirtanihal of Arunachala Kavirayar is of Rama. You go to Kerala, you have the Adikavi of Kerala, Elutacham, who taught the language and writing for Kerala. That is why he is called as Tunjattu Elutacham. His Ramayana is a wonderful contribution. He is a pioneer in Kerala literature. You go to Andhra Pradesh, there you can see Srimad Ramayana, Ranganatha Ramayana by Buddhavanna Reddy, and the Mullas Ramayana, and several other Ramayanas in Andhra Pradesh. And you come to this Karnataka, here too you have Ramayana, the great Narahari's Ramayana, which is called as Thoravai Ramayana. And then you go to Maharashtra, there you see Sant Ekanath's Bhavartha Ramayana, which is a commentary for Valmiki's Ramayana. And Gujarat's Giridhar Ramayana, and Odisha's Jagmohan Ramayana, and Odisha Vichitra Ramayana, Bengal's Kritivas Ramayana, and also you can see Ramayana in Uttar Pradesh, the glorious Ramcharitamanas, and also in Assam, a very old Ramayana they have, the oldest North Indian Ramayana after in North Indian regional languages, the oldest Ramayana, that is Madhavakandali's Ramayana. Several Ramayanas and Nepali Ramayana, Bhanubhatta Ramayana, all these several Ramayanas, Ramakathas throughout India. And through Ramakatha they cherished the language. Most of the Ramayanas are pioneers in their own languages. And the poets cherished the language through these Ramayanas. For that they were proud to take this Rama story to culture their languages. That's how it was. And you see, Madhavakandali is a pioneer in Assami Ramayana. You can't dream the language Hindi even without this Ramcharitamanas. Kamban, you know, because he is considered to be the matchless poet. Valluvar, Kamban and Ilango, the trio by Subramania Bharati, they are considered to be matchless poets in Tamil, even in the world. And then you see several Ramayanas, and these Ramayanas, the poets, they are just not, this is not one more Ramayana in that language. It contributes to the very language development. Point number one. Point number two, Ramayana is beyond languages. Ramayana is beyond caste. Caste. Sant Ekanath may be a Brahmin, but Mullah is from another caste. And then Kamban is a weaver, right? Yavitachan is a fisherman. Like that, the poets belonging to various communities contributed in the epic Ramayana. Not only Ramayana is beyond class, Ramayana is beyond sects. Molla is a Lingayat who wrote Ramayana. And Guru Gobind Singh is a Sikh. In Punjabi literature, next to the Adi Granth Sahib, this is the most famous literature, Guru Gobind Singh's Ramavatara Charita. Guru Gobind Singh wrote Ramayana. Okay, very wonderful literature. Mapra Ramayana in Kerala. Muslims sing Ramayana in Kerala. That is called as Mapra Ramayana. Indonesian Muslims have Ramayana, Ramakatha, Ramanatakam. So this Rama gets resonated throughout India, length and breadth of this nation. Everywhere you can see this Ramayana. Ramayana's impact. Ramayana teaches us the values, the Vedic values. Pitar Bhakti, Matru Bhakti, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atithi Devo Bhava. All these human values Ramayana offers to us. Before several years, the Prime Minister of England, forgotten his name, it's David Cameron, I think. He said, the great literature Ramayana is holding the nation India and giving values to the people of the nation. We also need such a kind of literature. And we invite Ramayana. This is what he said. So, Ramayana not only holds this nation, but also promotes the human values, the whole nation. What is Ramayana after all? The story of Rama. And what is Rama after all? In the very beginning of the epic you see, Gunavana, Kascha, Viryavana, Dharmagyascha, Kritagyascha, Satyavakyaha, Dridhavrataha, who is crowned with all wonderful virtues, who is heroic. Dharmagyascha, who knows Dharma, who is a man of gratitude, Kritagyascha, who is a man of truthfulness, Satyavakyaha, Dridhavrataha, who is highly principled, who is great in his character, who is a man of character, Charitrana Chako Yuktaha, and who aspires the universal welfare, Sarvabhuteshu Ko Hitaha, who is wise, Vidwan Kaha, Kasamartha, who is capable of doing dharmic deeds, Kasamarthascha, and who is always lovable, Kascha Yeka Priyadarshanaha, and who is realized soul, Atmavan Kaha, who has conquered his wrath, Chitakrodaha, Anasuvikaha, who is devoid of jealousy and also hatred. So, these values Rama promotes, therefore, up to our time, and these values are followed by the Indians, following the great footsteps of Rama, Shiva Rama Krishna. And then, any other thing binding India? Yes. Mother, Bharata Mata, Sita Mata. Bharata Mata is Sita Mata. It's because in Rigveda, Sita is the deity of the cultivable land. She is none other than land. Sita is motherland, Bharata Mata. And various Ambas, Ambitame, Naditame, Devitame, Saraswati. Our Saraswati Mata, the deity of knowledge, Ila, Saraswati, Mahi, Bharati. These are the Vedic deities. Shachi, Shihi. Shihi in Sangam literature is Thiru, Lakshmi. And then the Tantric goddesses, Dashamaha Vidyas, Kali, Bhuvaneshwari. In nutshell, in essence, Mother. What we worship by worshipping all these? We worship Mother. Motherhood is the prestige of India. Motherhood is the asset of India. That is why Swami Vivekananda clearly said, more and more our women follow the footsteps of Sita Devi. More we grow, more they grow in a holistic way. More they bestow welfare to them and the nation. More they distance themselves from Sitamma, more this nation will start to fall and they also will get destroyed. This is a very wonderful and matured observation of Swami Vivekananda. Motherhood which India offers to the world. Motherhood is featured with chastity and charity. What is that mantra? Sumana Suvarchaha. It goes like that. Aghora Chakshuhu Apatignedhi Shiva Pasubhyaha Sumana Suvarchaha Jivasuhu Devakama Syona Sanno Bhavat Dipade San Chatushpade. This kind of motherhood India offers. We have a lot of mothers, not only goddesses. Velunachar is our mother. Kuyili is our mother. Today children all spoke about it. Morning. And Jhansi Rani Lakshmibai is our mother. Jijabai is our mother. Tarabhai is our mother. Saibhai is our mother. Ahalyabhai is our mother. Rani Mandama is our mother. Mother, 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 mother. This Matrutva is a very important and unique feature of this nation. We call our women as all women are mothers. All women are mothers. Harubala Devi ki pratima. Bacha bacha Ram hai. All women are mothers. Swami Vivekananda said, normally I call any woman as mother. Amma Bhavati Bhiksham Devi. He's a sannyasi. Give me Bhiksha. Amma, Amma, Amma. He calls all girls, all women as mother. When he went to the Western world, there when he happened to meet a woman, he called in the same way, mother, mother. And he says that they got irritated. They got irritated. Why are you calling me as mother? Okay. Because you are indicating that we are old. Very old. We don't want to be mothers. Before 100 years in USA. And there is an expression in English. If wife is advising, husband says, don't play the role of a mother. Don't behave me as a mother. This is a very common expression in the Western world. So this motherhood is the important feature of India. And this India has to offer this motherhood to the whole world. When we start to treat our own sisters, our own girls, women as mothers, all these ill treatments, including rape, whatever is happening throughout. Unfortunately, in last few months, we have heard regarding two suicides. And all these two are girls. Very sad, very tragic. This must stop. The way is seeing women as mothers and sisters. Mother, this is the message given by Swami Vivekananda to India. To the world. When he went to USA in Chicago, the first address gave the message. What's the address? Brothers and sisters, feel from your heart. The girls are mothers. They are Balas, Ambas. They are Parvati Devi. Okay. They are Parvatis. They are Sitamas. That this motherhood India has offered to us. India has offered to us. Throughout India, you can see this motherhood. So, what are all the binding forces? Veda, universal welfare, motherhood, Shiva, Rama and Krishna. And any other thing is remaining? Yes. Take Sri Ramachandra. I can give an example how Rama can bind the whole nation. Mahatma Gandhi brought the whole nation under one umbrella, not by conquest, not by terrifying this nation. What he did, have you forgotten it? Can any textbook reveal it in schools and colleges? Which is a fact. Gandhiji was going for Dandi March. What he did? You see that picture? You see the photograph? Nearby Gandhiji, somebody was holding tambura. Why? It was not just a Dandi March, it was a Dandi Bhajan. They were not just gossiping and going. They were singing songs. What are those songs? They are called as Ram Dhun. Mahatma Gandhi bound this whole nation just by one single name, Ram Nam. Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram, Rama Rama Jaya Raja Ram, Rama Rama Jaya Sita Ram, Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram, Patita Pavana Sita Ram. Vaishnava Dharma, Bhagavata Dharma, in which he grew. As a Rama Bhakta he grew. And this song, by the song he bound the whole nation. This we know. Not by the weapons. By Ramanama he bound the whole nation. So Rama has the ability to bind the whole nation. Is there any other thing which has the power of Rama to bind the whole nation? Yes, it is the cow. Cow binds the whole nation. First Independence War, which nowadays in textbooks is called the Sipai Mutiny, funnily by the British historians. The first Independence War, it started with the cow. Because of Gohimsa, the cow, which is called in the Veda as Agnya. Agnya means which should not be harmed. Okay. Madan, Anadan, Aditim, Vadishtaha. Don't kill the cow is a Vedic command. Cow binds the nation. Cow worship. Indians are cow worshippers. And we are proud to be cow worshippers. If we search for what is this Hindu religion or culture, it all, when you go to the beginning, started with cow worship. He is not a Hindu who doesn't worship cow. Yes. Sakamayam dhumam arat apasyam. Tani dharmani prathamanyasam, says Rigveda. Those are the prime dharmas. What are? Having cow, taking the ghee, milk, and having the fire stick, establishing the ritual fire, offering the ghee, and the smoke spreads everywhere. By that removing the pollution in atmosphere. Bhumim prachanyaha jinvanti, divam jinvanti agnayaha. The same sutta Rigveda says. By that bringing the rain. This is a Vedic technology. In the language of Dr. H.R. Nagendra ji, this is called as Vedic technology. It's not just worship. It is technology. It is worship too. And in this worship, you remove pollution. For that fire ritual is performed. In this fire ritual, vital contribution is by Deshi cow. Cow dung. and ghee. These are purifiers. And from cow is Kamadhenu. Every cow is Kamadhenu, like every woman is Amba. Every Deshi cow is a Kamadhenu. It gives us milk, it gives us ghee. Not only this, cow products if you take, you go to a Gavya Siddha and ask, he will tell you. In these corona days, we all have come, we means ourselves, our group, have come out of this dreadful corona just to buy a cow medicine. It is called as Ark. It's our own experience. You all know this. Every day we took cow Ark. Our Harishji gave cow Ark. By that only we came out of this disease. So, for you, I need not teach the value of cow at all. Cow is everywhere in our culture, not only in our culture, for our health. You go to a Panchagavya Siddha, he will teach you now how from cow you can make a soap. How cow can give you a healthy tooth powder. How it can give the healthy washing soap. All these things come out of cow. So, Aradhana of cow is Yajna. Please understand. This is another thing. When this cow was harmed by British, the whole India stood together, and that is called as First Independence War. That is called as Sipai Mutani. Understood? So, cow is our mother. Now, what else is binding force of our nation? Based on the concept of universal welfare, we have one theory. We all believe that theory. We are the believers of the theory. What is that? Shubhakrit shubhamapnoti papakrit papam ashnute. If we are virtuous, we can be happy. If we are wicked, we will be sad. Simple. If we are virtuous, we will be happy. If we are wicked, we will be sad. This in general is called as karma theory. And karma theory is growing very famous nowadays, going more popular and popular throughout the world nowadays. And this karma theory is the contribution of India. Not only the contribution of India, this binds this nation. Majority of India does believe this karma theory, which is nothing but good remains happy, wicked suffers. Virtuous remains happy, and what is virtue? Paropakaraha punyaya, papaya parapidanam. Paropakara is virtue. Parapidana is papa, that is wickedness. So this karma theory is binding the whole nation. That's the next thing which binds the whole nation. Last but not the least, which binds the whole nation is seeing everywhere the same divine. Very important thing. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati sarva bhuteshu cha atmanam tato na vijugupsate. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva anupashyati. One who sees Atman in everywhere and one who sees everything in Atman doesn't get hatred at all. See the consequence of this knowledge. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmanyeva. First of all, the message of India to the world. Self is pure. Whatever wickedness, evil forces are there, they are only peripheral. They are only in adjuncts. On the other hand, the Western Freudian psychology, which influenced the West, proclaims morality or ethics, purity, all these things are peripheral to your personality. Impurity is the core. This is what Freud proclaimed. But here our Vedanta, our Shastras, they proclaim that purity is our core. That is why Swami Vivekananda said, it is the sin to call the people as sinners, soul as sinner. Yes. In core. We may be sinners in our peripheral level, but our nature is purity. The whole life journey is towards that purity of self. Purity of self. And this purity is inherent. Please understand. Only if it is inherent, it can be permanent for us. Please understand. And further, first purity of self, then seeing self in all beings, seeing the same divine everywhere, that helps us to serve the people. So this is the message of India. This can be seen throughout our nation, everywhere, even from the simple people whom we think as uneducated. They also have this greatest education. What they have? Everywhere we have to see the same Kadavul. We have to see the same divine. This greatest wisdom is inherent in all Indians. So this is the common, unique feature of our nation. All these are called as binding India forces. If we more and more cherish these binding India forces, India becomes stronger and stronger. Nor these binding India forces are unwise, wicked. They stand for universal welfare. They are the wonderful message for the whole world. India has a message to guide the whole world. India has the insights to guide the whole world. And my dear children, here in our Gurukula, world is expecting India to guide. Please understand. Cultural ambassadors from India, the world is expecting. World is keen to receive the great souls who represent universal welfare from India. World needs the education, the science of universal welfare, as art of universal welfare, the philosophy of universal welfare, for which this Bharata Mata, the nation India, stands. And we are proud to be the children of this nation. Shri Anna says in Vaishnava Samhita, if Bharata Mata is safeguarded, the whole world is safeguarded. It's because Bharata Mata represents universal welfare. And it can emanate this passion of universal welfare to the whole world. That's the important thing. So, may we all grow in these principles of India. May we recognize these binding forces and may we meditate on these binding forces, binding India forces or linking India forces. May we contemplate on these binding India forces in this very, very auspicious day. Today is Amrutotsava, 75th year of our freedom. May we contemplate on the very great selfless freedom fighters today. From morning we are contemplating. In fact, our children are wonderfully presenting about all the national leaders. So I need not again talk about all of them. the great souls like Subhash Chandra Bose or Bhagat Singh, Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai, the great souls like Tantia Tope and Veera Shivaji, Maharana Pratap Singh, and so on and so forth, and Kudigatta Kumaran, Babu Chidambaranar. Unfortunately, I couldn't listen to Babu Chidambaranar. I went, who talked on that? Nice. So, all these great souls today, and Kapaloti Tamilam, that is Babu Chidambaranar, and Subramani Bharatiya, these great souls, let us contemplate their selflessness, their hard work, and maybe reflect that selflessness in us and further work for the nation and its principle, that is universal welfare, dharma. Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai! Bharat Mata ki Jai! Vande